Good morning, Wenatchee Valley. Good morning, North Central Washington. Good morning, everybody who's watching this program on the World Wide Web. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on Thursday, the third day of August 2017. I am Dan Kuntz, your host. News Director Steve Hare to my immediate left. Here we go again, another day of...
I think we're going to have to change the name of the show to Wake Up San Fernando Valley.
It's bad out there. It's actually worse than it was yesterday. It's not a bunch worse when we talk about the air quality, but it's not as good as it was yesterday, and it wasn't good yesterday. We are sitting at 225 now on the WAQA value. I'm not going to explain to you exactly what that means, but it does mean hazardous.
Yeah.
It means hazardous. It's the weather, air quality is not very good, as you can see behind Steve. It's another cloudy, smoky day. There is some relief in sight, not from the smoke, but from the heat. We'll get to that in just a little bit. The heat advisory goes into effect at noon today, and it lasts through Saturday. We'll bring you up some graphics and show you some stuff. We're also going to show you some pretty interesting stuff on the National Weather Service on where all this smoke is coming from, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have a report for you on their news this morning regarding the fires that are really burning up British Columbia right now. The entire province appears to be on fire, and we're suffering from the consequences as well.
Yes, we are. We're suffering from the consequences. It's not as bad as it was in September of 2012. You and I were broadcasting together. We're not going to mention the radio station because we told KPQ we wouldn't. But you and I were on the air 5 years ago in September when we had the lightning strikes on, I believe it was the Sunday of Labor Day weekend.
We actually had to close down the offices because of the ventilation
And
problems.
for that whole month of September, essentially for the month, we couldn't breathe.
Oh, no.
It was that bad.
We were broadcasting with the masks on our mouth and everything else.
It's not that bad. It's not as bad as it was in September of 2012, but it also isn't very pleasant. And these big fires that Steve is talking about, it's not like the smoke is coming in and running into the high pressure system. The dome is so big, those fires are underneath the dome.
Yeah, and it's not just us, it's the entire state of Washington now.
It's not particularly pleasant out there. If you have any kind of respiratory issues at all, elderly, infants, that kind of stuff, yeah, this is another day where you're just going to have to stay indoors and enjoy the air conditioning.
Or baseball players.
Yeah, or baseball players as well. Apple Sox, interesting move there. They were supposed to play, of course, in Wenatchee. They moved it to Yakima. Now they moved it down to Corvallis. We'll talk about that when we get to sports. We have the obscure holiday of the day today, birthdays, today in history. Steve has a bunch of news. Weather in depth, and my guest in the second part of the show, we're going to replay the interview from Monday with Pastor Bob Shepard, which was his final day.
That's right.
At Serve Wenatchee Valley.
Tom Neese's first day.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that and a whole bunch more. Jam-packed show. We got the same scenario we've had a couple of times on this program. 5 pounds worth of program and a 4-pound bag to get it in. We'll do our very best. Let's go around the Wenatchee Valley in North Central Washington with our Valley View cameras.
And yes, the same camera, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhere down there is Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. Trust me, they're there.
Can you see us from Birch Mountain? I doubt it.
I don't think so. It's again, the air quality is slightly worse now than it was yesterday at this time, which means it's probably going to stay within the hazardous range for most of the day today.
That is ugly.
It's ugly. It's just ugly. Let's go. Speaking of ugly, check this out. Try and guess where this is.
I believe that's up Lake Wenatchee.
That is like up Lake Wenatchee, as my producer Caitlin said. Looks like Jurassic Park, and it does. That's Lake Wenatchee. There's no real relief from this. Remember, we talked about September of 2012. You can at least go over to the Puget Sound area and enjoy fresh air and sunshine that September. Not even in Puget Sound. I mean, they have air quality as bad as ours. It's not very pleasant.
Homesick for Southern California.
Yeah, not me. Let's go to Monument. Now, we were debating what direction that camera is pointing. That's Monument Hill out in the Quincy area. We don't know because you can't tell. Wow. You don't have any horizon to give yourself a general idea what direction you're pointing. The black that you see, of course, were the fires that occurred last month in that area. So that's out in Monument. Again, no relief for the smoke anywhere. And speaking of where it's just as bad up in Chelan as it is in Wenatchee, Union Valley.
Probably, yeah.
Look at that.
Our engineer Caitlin was up there the other day, and she said it's really, really bad.
Yeah,
it's even worse than it is here.
Yeah, but they fixed the machine, and that's the good part. The Department of Ecology's air monitoring equipment in Chelan is in downtown Chelan, and it was giving false readings because it wasn't working correctly. It's now working correctly. So
well, it gives us that nice little smoky aroma to the wines that they're brewing up there.
For the record, in Chelan right now, the WAQA value is 165. So it's unhealthy. It's better in Chelan right now than it is in Wenatchee. Wenatchee is hazardous. It's not particularly pleasant out there. It's as simple as that. So let's take you to the weather forecast. There's a lot to touch on today because there's changes coming. There's your forecast. Again, the heat advisory remains in effect. It will kick in at noon Thursday and it's going to last until 8 o'clock on Friday. So today and tomorrow, Steve, they're expecting the hottest temperatures so far of this heat wave. And there is your update. That's not as hot, as you can see, as they previously forecast. They thought it was going to last at least through the middle of next week. There is some relief in sight, again, in regards to the heat, not the smoke. The air quality alert is still in effect. So It's going to cool down quicker than they thought. And why the change? Here's the change. See that cold front up there? It's going to start coming down, and it's going to slam into that high pressure ridge, and it's going to cool us down quite a bit. This is ahead of schedule. They were expecting it to come maybe Sunday or Monday. Now they're thinking Friday night into Saturday.
Possibly then that will get rid of the inversion, do you think?
That's maybe, maybe not. It's not bringing a lot of wind with it. It is, and again, when we say cooler, it's all relative. It's going to be it's going to be in the mid 90s as opposed to the upper 90s to near 100. So it's all relative. Heat advisory, as I mentioned before, is still in effect. There it is your map of your heat advisory. The gray is the air quality alert, and the red is the heat advisory. For Wenatchee, we have both, the air quality alert and the heat advisory. Again, 100 degrees today, 100 degrees tomorrow, then it slightly cools down. And finally, Steve, where's the smoke coming from? There's where the smoke is coming from. The big yellow thing you see at the top is actually a complex of fires. They just put it all together as one big yellow blob, and then all the little dots that you see are where there are also wildfires.
By the way, you see the Diamond Creek fire there? North central Washington there, that's in the Passaic Wilderness. That now has grown to 7,000 acres. And I was reading the InsaWeb status report on that fire this morning, and they're estimating the containment for October 15th.
October 15th.
Yeah.
So what's the relief? What happens? Well, first of all, as you went back and you saw that, the high pressure ridge, as we mentioned, is over all the stuff that you saw. It's over the top of British Columbia, just like it's over the top of us. So it's a big lid. It's almost over the entire Pacific Northwest. It goes hundreds of miles up to British Columbia. So whatever goes up in the air goes right back down again. And if you live in a valley area where you have higher relative humidity and less wind, it's more intense.
Well, you know, this is something that now is our normal.
I know.
Every summer.
It's the new normal. Again, just to wrap things up, the heat advisory is still going to kick in at noon today, and it goes to 8 o'clock on Friday. Then we cool down a little bit over the weekend. The air quality alert is still on. It's going to go through at least Saturday. No real big dramatic change. Going to cool down a little bit, but as far as the air quality is concerned, it's going to stay this way through at least Saturday. They're predicting quite possibly Sunday and Monday. So there you go.
Grin and bear it.
Grin and bear it. Again, it's not as bad as it was 5 years ago, so we have to keep that into consideration. 7 minutes after the hour, Steve has a bunch of news to get to. It was a busy day yesterday. We're going to put it all in one nice little package for you with News Director Steve Harry and your morning headlines when we come back on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
The Arbiter of Stoke is a series that highlights a variety of outdoor adventure sports that are available in the Pacific Northwest. I dedicate my time to enjoying this natural playground. The decision is yours. How will you keep your stoke?
Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, serving all of North Central Washington. We make it our priority to learn all about your financial needs. Whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or want a reverse mortgage, our mortgage professionals are ready to guide you through the loan process. We have a wide variety of loan products to fit your family's needs. Call Bay Equity Home Loans of Wenatchee today for your pre-approval. 509-888-0466.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
Good morning, North Central Washington. Here's what's happening on this Thursday morning. It's August 3rd. Wenatchee and Leavenworth area fire officials are smiling following the results of Tuesday's primary election. Chelan County Fire District 1 Chief Mike Burnett said he was extremely grateful for voter support.
Appreciate the citizens of Chelan County Fire District 1 supporting us. And, we have frequently said that if we have a good message and we work together, the citizens have shown that they'll support us. And once again, they have. And on behalf of the commissioners and the people that work at Chelan District 1, we're all extremely pleased and thankful.
Meanwhile, besides Chelan County 1, up in Leavenworth, Chelan County Fire District 3 Chief Kelly O'Brien also expressed his appreciation.
A whole new beginning for us, essentially, in the fire protection business, and we look forward to starting that process.
And again, Election Day, of course, was marred by poor air quality caused by the smoke drifting down from north of the border. And that, well, we were questioning Chief O'Brien about that maybe influencing the vote.
Yeah, I didn't order that up at all. I like my clean air as much as anybody else. Although a couple of community members said, well, that was timely of you.
The levies, by the way, are both passing with over 70% approval. Police say a suspected drunk driver was arrested Tuesday night after he struck a parked car with his pickup truck and then drove off with part of the car's bumper attached to his vehicle. Captain Edgar Reinfeld said the accident occurred in the 11 o'clock hour Tuesday on Crawford Street, or Crawford Avenue rather. It's when witnesses reported seeing the suspect vehicle driving away from the scene. Reinfeld said officers located the pickup by following a trail of radiator fluid from the accident scene to the driveway of the suspect's home.
Kind of a classic no-brainer case as they go to pull the bumper off and prepare to tow away the pickup. The rear license plate for the victim vehicle fell out and hit the ground, so that was pretty clear and convincing evidence that they had found the right vehicle. The driver of the pickup truck, Michael Parrish, a 43-year-old male from Wenatchee, was arrested for DUI and hit and run unattended and was booked in a CCRJ.
Luckily, there were no injuries involved there. Also, at a meeting this past Saturday at the Lake Wenatchee Rec Club, area residents had the opportunity to ask questions and listen to presentations regarding planned timber harvests in that area. Weyerhaeuser and the U.S. Forest Service are planning to do some work in the Nason Ridge area overlooking the lake, and some residents have expressed objections. And in fact, they've gone to the extent of circulating a petition to stop the harvests. Chelan County Commissioner Keith Gaynor attended Saturday's meeting, and he says residents naturally have some concerns.
There's the initial concern of just the visual impact. There's also concern about potential for avalanche or erosion. And DNR specifically showed on the map exactly the areas, the chutes that could be a potential for that. And Weyerhaeuser has chosen and has agreed not to harvest timber in those areas. So the stability of the land was in question. That has been, an assessment has been done, and there really doesn't appear to be a concern over. There's always going to be a concern at anywhere, and the concerns were brought up. Well, what about Oso? It had geological assessments done there also, and they said, well, this is really, it's a different landscape. It's a different formation under the surface, and they said it really doesn't lend itself to that at all. So, as I said, they will be leaving more trees on the ground than they would necessarily have to, but I think they're very sensitive to the impact to the area. But the bottom line is not only will they be able to harvest their timber, but they will be enhancing the forest health by creating that open space.
Grant Olson met with the commissioners earlier this week. Forest Service projects and the upcoming Lake Wenatchee pilot project are planned in the Lake Wenatchee, the Big Meadow, the Beaver, and the Lower Chihuahua areas. Community Foundation of NCW has awarded over $542,800 in scholarships to 152 students across the area. It's the largest scholarship award total dispersed from the foundation to date. Now, the foundation manages 97 scholarship funds to help students ease the financial burden of pursuing a college degree. A total of 1,472 applications were received. Community Foundation scholarships are offered annually. The next round of scholarship applications opens January 1st of next year. Most applications due by March 1st. A full listing of the scholars and more information available at the Community Foundation of North Central Washington's website. It's another day of poor air quality, certainly in North Central Washington. Indeed, the entire state of Washington, as you see here, is affected by the epic wildfires that continue to plague British Columbia. And while we have to suffer from the thick smoke, I'll tell you what, up north it's a scene of complete devastation. Currently, 138 active wildfires burning in the province. We're getting some drone footage from British Columbia showing you some of the damage that's been wreaked on that area. Again, 138 active wildfires in the province. They've combined to blacken 939,000 acres since they were ignited by lightning storms back on July 7th. As of yesterday, 6,000 people were still unable to return to their residences due to the fire threat. In all, over 40,000 people were evacuated. The largest blaze measures over 333,500 acres. Hundreds of homes have been lost, as you can see here, just a scene of complete catastrophe there. You can expect continued poor air quality here as the forecast calls for more of the same weather conditions through the weekend, although we may get a little break from the heat, but the smoke's going to stick around at least into the foreseeable future.
July 7th is when these started, you said,
That's
up in
right.
British Columbia, so nearly a month old.
That's right.
That's a lot. And of course, we haven't had any measurable precipitation here on the valley floor since June 9th, I want to say. Is that the day?
I think June 8th.
June 8th.
around there.
June 9th was the last time there was enough precipitation to actually show up on the gauge. Had a couple of moments after that with Trace, so we're in a long dry spell.
Well, when this weather clears out, certainly these grasses and everything else are cured and just really susceptible to fire. So folks, please be careful out there.
As Steve mentioned, there is a slight break in the heat, not a big dramatic break in the heat, but it's going to cool down quicker than they anticipated. That's the good news. The bad news is the air quality alert is right through Saturday. Wouldn't be surprised at all if it was extended even deeper than that. As long as that high pressure ridge is on there, there's simply no place for the smoke to go.
No.
It's as simple as that.
Stay indoors if at all possible, folks.
And here's the Wenatchee Apple Sox in the heat of a pennant race, and they haven't played baseball since Sunday.
Eric Granstrom has his conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
The smoke is all being generated by.
Yeah, we need to talk about that off here. So at 16 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'll fill you in on where exactly Apple Sox are at this hour. They're going to get some baseball in, just not in Wenatchee or even in Yakima, for that matter. Sports when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live from Studio 2 on the NCW Live channel.
Folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's blueberry picking season, and King 5 named us the second best destination restaurant in Washington State. So toss the family in the cruiser and get on out to Blueberry Hills for the best down-home scratch country cooking you've had in years. And don't forget our award-winning pies. We're fun, family-friendly, and a delicious destination year-round. We're open every day from 8 to 3, serving breakfast and lunch all day. So come on out to Blueberry Hills.
Today we're watching an intriguing female searching for her ideal habitat.
It appears she's a social creature. Interacts well with others.
What determination! This Sheila can do anything.
Well, I didn't see this coming. She's enrolling in Charter College. Could this be her ideal habitat? Caring for others?
This, not healthy.
Start your evolution at chartercollege.edu.
18 minutes after the hour on this Thursday, August 3rd, 2017. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and I am Dan Kuntz, live from Studio 3 Sports. Now, stay with me here. It gets a little complicated. The Apple Sox were off on Monday. They were supposed to begin a 3-game home series against Corvallis on Tuesday. That was smoked out, so they decided to play a doubleheader yesterday at Paul Thomas Senior Field. That was smoked out, so they decided to move the games down to Yakima, which is about the closest town that has a WCL team to Wenatchee, for a doubleheader today. That's been smoked out because the poor air quality has moved itself down to the Palm Springs of the Northwest. So what does all this mean? Wenatchee and Corvallis will play a doubleheader today, beginning at 6 o'clock, all the way down in Corvallis. So they moved all the way down to Corvallis. Now, because Corvallis and Wenatchee are able to make up just 2 of the 3 games, because of the way the schedule has worked out, if the remaining 1 game of the series holds playoff implications in the North or the South, remember Corvallis is leading the South, they're going to have to play again for 1 more makeup game, the game that they lost on Tuesday. They'll have to play that on Monday, August 7th. So although the game will be in Corvallis' Goss Stadium, Wenatchee will play as the home team in the doubleheader on Thursday. Then after that, Wenatchee wraps up the regular season against the Bellingham Bells up in Bellingham over the weekend. So did you get all that? They didn't play Wenatchee. They moved to Yakima. Can't play in Yakima. So Wenatchee and Corvallis will play each other in a doubleheader today, beginning at 6, down in Corvallis. They did get some baseball in, though, in the West Coast League last night that weren't smoked out. And here are your finals. Bellingham knocked off Victoria. Good news, of course, for the Apple Sox. That's the team they're chasing, the Harbor Cats. So Bellingham knocked off Victoria. Port Angeles defeats Gresham, and Kelowna knocked off the slumping Walla Walla Sweets, and Yakima Valley over Cowlitz yesterday, 10-1. So there are your standings in the North. Again, Wenatchee has the lead, but they got some games to make up. So you have to take it all relative. Wenatchee leads by 2 games in the loss column, but Victoria has played 3 more games than Wenatchee, so things still very unsettled in the North Division in the West Coast League. Let's talk Mariner baseball. Area Miranda surrendered 3 home runs. Texas salvaged the final game of their 3-game series down in Arlington. The final yesterday afternoon was 5-1. Robinson Cano's RBI base hit in the first scored Gene Segura. That gave Seattle a very short-lived lead. Texas came right back in the bottom of the first to tie it. On Delano DeShield's solo home run, the Rangers took the lead in the fourth on Adrian Beltre's sacrifice fly. Joey Gallo homered in the fifth. That made it 3-1 Texas. Elvin Andrus' 2-run shot in the sixth would cap the scoring and give the Rangers the win. Manager Scott Service said Miranda needs to work on his placement.
Certainly wasn't the way we wanted to end the series here. We played really good the last couple nights, but home runs hurt us tonight, and we just couldn't get much going offensively. We had some guys on there earlier in the game and couldn't get the big hit when we're in a scoring position to keep the line moving and put a big inning up there. So we were in the game most of the night, just like I said, just to get the big hit when we needed to get back into the game. But home runs have hurt us a little bit this year. I think we lead the league in giving them up. Unfortunately, they got a couple tonight, and Miranda's stuff was actually okay. He's made a couple mistakes, and they weren't base hits or doubles. They went over the fence.
For the Mariners, it's off to Kansas City for a 4-game weekend series against the Royals. Scott Service says the Mariners need to get a little payback.
They've been playing well. They've been through it. They've won. They've gotten deep in the playoffs and have won it all. So, be a good series. We're looking forward to it. I think that's kind of our motto all month is, bring it on. We're playing good ball. Not a great game tonight, but, over the last week or so, we played very well, so it'll be a good series.
Ivoni Geraldo will start for the Mariners tonight. The Royals will send Trevor Cahill to the mound. First pitch this afternoon at 5:15. Elsewhere in the American League West on Wednesday, here are your final scores. Tampa Bay cooled down Houston just a little bit. Angels knocked out Philadelphia. Oakland defeated San Francisco. So everybody except the Mariners, everybody except the Mariners in Houston, won their games. Houston still continues to run away with the division. The Mariners 55 and 54, a full 15 games behind the Astros, but they're just a game and a half behind in the wild card race. And that's sports at 22 minutes after the hour. Let's take a look at the obscure holiday of the day today. Always celebrated on August 3rd. It's National Watermelon Day. National Watermelon Day. Absolutely an all-time favorite summertime treat and picnics and fairs. Watermelon, how did it get its name? Well, it's 92% water. That's as simple as that. Watermelon in its natural state began, as far as anybody can tell, in southern Africa. Southern Africa is where watermelon was first thought to be edible. Watermelon in its natural state, by the way, is almost uneatable. It's very bitter, very, very bitter. Watermelon without, if you just pick a watermelon that's growing in the wild, you're not going to like it very much. In fact, they found seeds of watermelons in the Pharaoh's tombs. That's how valuable watermelon was. Of course, why watermelon is better today than it was in its natural state, cultivation and breeding. So they were able to make watermelon sweet and tender. Happy Watermelon Day. Celebrate it with somebody you love. And at 23 minutes after the hour, today in history, on August 3rd, 2017, 525 years ago today, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. He had 3 ships and left from Spain. He sailed through sunshine, wind, and rain. He sailed by night, he sailed by day. He used the stars to find his way. A compass also helped him know how to find the way to go. And on October 12th, their dream came true. They fell off the edge of the earth. Christopher Columbus set sail from Spain with the Pinta, the Nina, and the Santa Maria. Destination, I don't know, we're going west and see what we can find. Columbus started his famous voyage on this date 525 years ago. 165 years ago, August 3rd, 1852, Harvard took on Yale in the big regatta, crew races, rowing. One of those sports that's weird because you go backwards. In any event, the significance of it, by the way, Harvard won. Harvard defeated Yale. The very first intercollegiate athletic event. So when you talk about how big college sports has gotten, and it's gotten ginormously huge, you can trace it all the way back to 165 years ago today when Harvard took on Yale in a boat race. America's first intercollegiate athletic event happened on this date 165 years ago. Speaking of sports, 96 years ago on this date, August 3rd, 1921, Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis, the commissioner of baseball, to the 8 members of the Black Sox said, "You're out of here." It was one day after they were acquitted. Of course, they were acquitted by a Chicago court. They said not guilty. Kennesaw Mountain Landis, as the high commissioner of baseball, says, "I don't care what the court said. They cheated. They bet on baseball. They ruined the integrity of baseball. They're out. They remain out." The 8 Chicago Black Sox banned for life by Kennesaw Mountain Landis on this date 96 years ago, even though they were acquitted in court. Keep in mind, most people agree that they probably did it. So, in any event, the Block Sox scandal came to a merciful end on this date 96 years ago. And 40 years ago on this date, August 3rd, 1977, you can go into your local Radio Shack, fork over $600 and pick up the TRS-80. There it is, one of the world's first mass-produced personal computers. You remember the TRS-80? It was all the rage back in the late 70s and early 80s. Manufactured by the Tandy Corporation, sold by Radio Shack, which of course was owned by the Tandy Corporation. $600 is what it cost you in 1977, which today comes out to $2,400. And now they're collector's items, believe it or not. The TRS-80, a revolutionary computer, hit Radio Shack stores on this date 40 years ago. And finally, at 26 minutes after the hour on this third day of August, let's do celebrity birthdays. Good news, they're all alive, including the legendary Tony Bennett. 91 years old today. He was born Anthony Dominic Benedetto in New York City. Of course, had a great career in the 50s and in the early 60s, and rock and roll came around, and Tony Bennett, just basically his career dried up to almost nothing. But in the late 80s and early 90s, he made a great comeback without altering his style one bit, and he's now considered an American musical legend, and he should be because he is. Happy 91st birthday to Tony Bennett, looking good. Martin Sheen is 77 years old today. Happy birthday to Martin Sheen. I first got to know Martin, not personally, but on the film Apocalypse Now. He was so good. Of course, most people remember him as President Josiah Bartlett on the long-running show The West Wing, for which he was paid $300,000 per episode. Not bad. Life is good for Martin Sheen, 77 years old today. Right behind Martin Sheen, Martha Stewart celebrates a birthday. It's a good thing. Martha Stewart, the businesswoman, publisher, author. Martha Stewart, living omnimedia, is 76 years old today. Happy birthday, Martha Stewart. Of course, about 10 years ago, she ran into all kinds of legal troubles. Looked like her career was all over, but like her or hate her, you got to admire her moxie. She built her empire back up to what it was before. Martha Stewart, 76 years old today. James Hetfield from Metallica celebrates a birthday today. He's 54. He's basically the leader of the group. He's written most of their hit songs. He sings most of their hit songs. He was the co-founder of the group. Really, really great guitarist, terribly underrated. And a pretty good guy, all things considered. James Hetfield, the guitarist from Metallica, one of the great heavy metal bands in America, is 54 years old today. And speaking of life, is treating this guy pretty well. How about Tom Brady? Is life good for him? It's a milestone for Tom Brady. He's 40 years old today. He has a slew of records. He's one of only 2 players to win 5 Super Bowls. He is the only quarterback to win 5 Super Bowls. He's played in 7 Super Bowls, more than anybody else, and he has won 4 Super Bowl MVP awards, the most of all time. And he's married to a very attractive woman, I might add. Tom Brady is 40 years old today. Don't forget, if you know somebody who's celebrating a birthday, you can submit it to us here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Go to our website, ncwlife.com, and just look for the icon that says Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. You'll see my smiling face. Click on the birthday club icon. It's right there. You can't miss it. Attach the photo. We'll get your local celebrity's birthday on the air. Everyone is entitled to Mike Minotti's opinion in just a couple of minutes. You'll like that. And then we'll replay our little visit with Pastor Bob Shepard and Tom Nees from Serve Wenatchee Valley. You'll enjoy that. Plus, Steve Hare will rejoin me with the latest news before we get to the 8 o'clock hour live from Studio 3. But first, special thanks to our friends at Weinstein Beverage, the distributors of this incredible new beverage from Starbucks. It's called Cold Brew. It's coffee, but it was never hot. It was never brewed hot and then cooled down. Think about it. Anybody can do that. You brew a pot of coffee, and then you put it in a big glass jar, and you put it in the fridge, and you drink it cold. That's not how it's supposed to be done. If you like your coffee cold, there's a special way to do it, and you might as well trust Starbucks to do it and do it right. 4 different flavors to choose from, available at retailers everywhere, and of course at Starbucks, distributed by Weinstein Beverage. Cold Brew. Check it out. It's good stuff. And thanks to our friends at Highgate Senior Living, every day to the fullest, every day to the fullest. They have it all. They have respite care, memory care, independent living. If you just want a place to call home, but you're an active senior, you like to go out and play golf and go to the Pybus and walk the loop and do things with your friends, and all you need is just a place to rest your head at night, Highgate's perfect. Or if you need something a little more restricted, it's a beautiful campus. Check it out. Highgate Senior Living, every day to the fullest. 30 minutes after the hour, everyone is entitled to Mike Mignotti's opinion, and then we visit with Bob Shepard and Tom Nees. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
No matter what your age or ailment, when you wake up each day with a sense of purpose, life has meaning and joy.
Just wait a while, it'll get in the hole somewhere.
Helping you do this is our purpose. Highgate Senior Living, each day to the fullest.
The best thing about my life right now is me.
Reed's Marine in Manson has your boating needs covered, offering the superior Regal lineup with options from 19 to 53 feet. With the Regal Express line, you have the freedom to explore with an innovative interior and the largest headroom in its class. Don't forget the roomy cockpit with seating to fit the whole family. From 26 to 32 feet, Reed's Marine has the Regal Express to fit your needs. View our current inventory at ChelanBoat.com or stop by our Manson showroom on beautiful Lake Chelan and see the entire Regal line.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, there's a lot of argument these days about capitalism and whether or not some people have too much money. Well, honestly, I have to agree. I think some people do have too much money, but also, honestly, who's to say who has too much and what too much is? You, me? Now, one truth is, to many people in third world countries, the average American, you and me, for example, we have too much money. We have more than enough food, little concerns about personal safety, and the lifestyle of most of us exceeds that of millionaires 100 years ago. So again, what's too much and who gets to say? Something to consider. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Join us for Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Magnotti on the NCW Life channel. This former police sergeant is plugged into not only the world of the streets, he's an actor and connoisseur of the arts. So join Mike and his guest for, well, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mondays at 10 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m., and Wednesdays at 5:30. It's Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Magnotti on the NCW Life channel.
It's just high school. Come join us.
History being made today, not 25 feet from where I'm sitting, because that's where Serve Wenatchee Valley's offices are. Pastor Bob Shepard, his last day as the full-time executive director, steps aside, and Tom Nees takes over officially tomorrow, I suppose.
Yep. Midnight tonight.
Midnight tonight. Pastor Bob Shepard and Tom Nees.
Counting?
Who's counting? From Serve Wenatchee Valley. Bob's a very high-profile guy. We've known Bob. I've known Bob for many, many years. First with radio and now interviewing him on television. So Tom, let's get to know you first a little bit. Give us a little thumbnail background on Tom and your family and what brought you to the Valley and all that good stuff.
Sure. I came actually to the Valley in 1985 for the first time. Was here, got married, had our first child here, and then moved to North Dakota, and I was a North Dakota grain farmer for about 13 years.
Wow.
Closed up the family farm, and 4 more kids later, my wife and I, of 29 years, incidentally, moved back to the Valley in 2003, where I accepted a position, a pastoral position at the Nazarene Church, across the street from the high school on Miller Street there. Was there for about 6 years, and then began new work, Missio Dei Church, which has most recently been located at the Wenatchee World Building, the old former Press Room Theater. Worked over that time to develop an outreach into the immigrant community, and we serve through hand-in-hand immigration services with helping immigrants claim their citizenship. And so that's kind of a thumbnail. I've graduated 4 kids so far in the Wenatchee High School.
Oh,
and
cool.
My daughter is going to be a senior this year. So.
And then that's it? And you'll be empty nesters?
Oh, empty nesters. That's for another show.
Did you, when you were working the grain silos in North Dakota, I suppose the economy is probably what what shut you down. But did you realize that you still had a calling? This is what you weren't really doing what you should be doing, which is the Lord's work. I mean, when did you decide I need to get back into this?
So I have really always had a sense, not separating the secular and the sacred, and so I've just for a long time viewed kind of everything I do as kind of sacred work. And so as I was on the farm, that was just a different assignment, but there still had a sacred element to it that was being formed in me over that time. So actually at about the midpoint of being in North Dakota is when I stepped into pastoral ministry. And so been in pastoral ministry for about 22 years. And so part of that was I've been bivocational, working on the farm and pastoring a church. And since I've been here, most of my time here has been that same way.
Do you miss farming?
Yes and no.
What part about it do you miss?
I actually miss the completion of something. You know, and one thing you find in, I think, ministry being involved is that it's difficult to find an ending to something. And so you go out and you plant a crop, you go through the season, you harvest, you put things away and start again. So kind of that finality. I also miss that, just that being connected to the land. I really enjoyed that part of life.
And now, starting tomorrow, you take over from Bob as Executive Director of Serve Wenatchee Valley. 15 years, Bob? Is that how long you've been at it?
Yeah, we're into our 16th year.
It's amazing how I remember that. For those of you who are unfamiliar, essentially Serve Wenatchee Valley is sort of a conduit for all the area churches, all had their little outreaches to help people here and reach out there, but it needed a central core organization, and that's how Serve Wenatchee Valley came to be, essentially. Bob.
Sure, it's a collaboration effort of about 40 different churches and ministries in the community that helps people in need and also puts on big events like we're going to talk about in a little bit.
And so you're taking over from Bob officially tomorrow. How did this whole process begin? I know, Bob, you were talking about retirement for quite some time. So how did this whole process of Bob moving out and Tom moving in, how did that whole thing come about?
Well, I informed the board just about a year ago at this point that it wasn't so much, I guess it was retirement, but kind of phasing out of leadership at Serve Wenatchee. So I know people are congratulating me on my retirement. It's actually stepping down from Serve, but I am the lead administrator over at the Saddle Rock Presbyterian Church. So I'm going to continue that. So it's more of a part-time, less stressful, enjoy family more type of step for me. So I informed them of that. They started a search committee. You know, we are at a point where we've sensed that the ministry has evolved, has developed. You know, we kind of birthed it. I think we've made it through the adolescent stage, thank goodness. And now it's ready for some new leadership and some new energy to come in. So there was a search committee established. I had made it very clear that I did not want to select my successor. So I was pretty much out of that loop, and the search committee came up with Tom, a delightful choice. He's a colleague, a friend, and looking forward to that.
What was it like when the search committee called you up and said, Bob, we've picked Tom to take your spot? How did that make you feel?
It was great. You know, Tom and I have been to conferences together. I know his heart for the community. He's been on our board, so I know that he really has a dear spot in his heart for our ministry. So that'll be wonderful, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a phase in. The baton is being passed, but you know, just like on the relays, you know, sometimes there's that gap where you're both in it together. For the next 2 months, we'll be doing that, passing on the baton.
And you've actually been shadowing Bob really for the last few months anyway, right? Just getting your feet wet.
Yeah, and I've been very connected with Serve Wenatchee Valley over time. When I first came here in 2003, it wasn't long after that I met Bob, and we got connected. And actually, at our church, we started a non-food pantry, which became one of the partner churches. And then I did serve on the board for two different occasions, and just been delighted to be a part of a unified organization that Serve Wenatchee Valley is, and so I'm quite familiar with. So stepping into this, it's not out of the blue, so to speak. I've got a heartbeat for what this is.
Were you recruited, or did you throw your hat into the ring? Walk me through the process of getting this job.
No, I really threw my hat into the ring. It was not a recruiting. There was just I would have to say there was just a deep impulse in me that seemed very consistent with who I have been over my life and over time of being a collaborator and working in the community. 13 years here in Wenatchee, so when this opportunity presented itself, I kind of just submitted myself to this process at a very clear and probably deeper impulse to respond.
What was the process? Did you have an official resume and a cover letter and an interview, like any other regular type job?
Yeah, there was an application that needed to be completed, and then the submission of the resume alongside of that. And so that went to a search committee. So the board formed a search committee, and all of that information went to the search committee, and they processed through that. I think the search committee could probably answer what their process was better than me. I just know I submitted that, and then just waited and trusted.
Was there a formal interview process with the search committee? Okay.
Yeah, there was a couple of step interview process. There was a time to come in and sit face to face with them, and then there was another interview that followed that as well.
After the second interview, do you think, I think I got the job? I think they're going to hire me? Did you feel confident about it? Did you just pray and hope you got it?
You know, I really just had a deep sense of what I did was I presented to the board who I am. And then I trusted the board to match up who I am with where Serve Wenatchee Valley was going. And so my confidence probably more was that I really conveyed a sense of this is who I am, and if the search committee and the board decides that this is a match, then I trusted that process for that decision making.
And it can't be a cosmetic job. That's the thing about what Bob has been doing for the last almost 16 years. You can't fake your way through this job.
No.
You can't do it. You can't do it at all. I mean, it's completely counterproductive. You have a staff. How's the staff dealing with all this change? Because I know you have people who work in your office.
Right.
On a regular.
Very dedicated staff. They know Tom, and they're excited about that. I would hope that they'd like to see me leave. No, I hope that they would miss me a little bit, but no, they're excited with the new leadership that Tom's giving and the sensitivity that he has. So yeah, they're all staying put and looking forward to the next chapter of this ministry.
Did you bring a certain skill set to the whole process, Tom? Is that, I'm really good. I know it's really hard for somebody to wave their own, toot their own horn, wave their own flag, but what kind of specific skill set did you thought was maybe put you over the top?
Well, I think one of the lead things is that I am a collaborator at my core, and the definition of who we are as an organization is that we are a collaboration of the local church and the community. And so I think that is one of the skill sets that I bring to the table, is the ability to find common ground and be able to celebrate those common ground moments and navigate through some of the differences that can create problems at times. It doesn't mean there's not going to be those things, but I think that sense of community collaboration and willingness to be able to learn and hear.
And new blood is good. And, Bob's done a wonderful job for 16 years. You got some big shoes to fill. So have you discovered that as you've been shadowing Bob for the last couple of months?
You can see that I did ask for a phone book.
A phone book
to be
get
able
up
to
there a little
give.
bit.
Yes. So no, I understand the big shoes to fill in the sense that what I want to do is maintain what Bob has and the volunteers and the staff and this community has created,
Right.
to continue that compassionate outreach to this valley, and then add a skill set in there that is able to look beyond a little bit additional collaborative effort and some development in terms of poverty, or I'm going to say prosperity. What does it look like to live in a prosperous community, and interject Serve Wenatchee Valley at the center of those conversations that are happening in our community right now. There's some great efforts right now that are addressing prosperity in our community.
And yet you said the poverty word. I can't remember. I want to say 35% poverty rate in the Wenatchee Valley. Is that about where we're at? That's what I want to say, which is
close to that.
It's just scary.
Yeah.
It's just scary. I mean, it must be, the challenges there must be enormous.
But I think the challenge is for us, in the same way that immigration becomes an issue and we fail to see the people, I think we need to maintain that connection with understanding that this thing is about the people and being able to serve those that we can and come alongside of them and help, and maybe stop thinking about these things as issues as much as putting the face to the people that we are serving with.
And that's where it's really at, right there.
I think so.
One last question, Tom, before we take a quick break. When you told your congregation, how do they take that? Okay, I mean.
They did.
Okay.
They were incredibly affirming. I think that is they've looked at the community work that I've done over time, and there was actually a sense of course, this seems to be a real fit and a match.
Bob, you want to add something? It looked like you were.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Dan, when we first started this ministry, we didn't exactly know where it was headed. So there were 5 of us pastors that went down to what was called the Dream Center in Hollywood to kind of get an idea of something that we might emulate. And as we saw this incredible ministry down there, we talked to the staff and we asked them, or basically portrayed what we were trying to do with a collaborative effort of many churches. This was one run by one church. And we were kind of getting their input, and they said it can't be done. You just can't get churches to cooperate like that. You can't get pastors to cooperate like that. So we decided that we buck the odds and we'd go at it and try it. And lo and behold, it was. And Tom mentioned that this whole movement of Serve Wenatchee Valley has been far more than just a handful of people. It has been a community effort. It has taken the courage of pastors and the wisdom of pastors to be willing to work together, of businesses and different service clubs to cooperate together. And what has evolved is rather unique for a community. I go to other communities and they say, really? You can get this done? So anyway, it's been a joy, and the collaboration is really an important element, and I know Tom will do a great job in that.
As other communities approach Serve Wenatchee Valley, like you just mentioned, say, how do you do it, Bob? I mean, what's the secret?
Yeah, we've helped get Serve Moses Lake going on. Up in Chelan, there's Chelan Valley Hope. I understand Quincy has something. We've talked with Yakima. And and each one of them customize their organization to meet the needs, but still the idea that we're better together than we are individually trying to duke it out. So.
Bob Shepard and Tom Neese from Serve Wenatchee Valley. When we come back, we'll talk about the big Clothes for the Classroom. It is back. It's coming up in just a couple of weeks, and other things going on for Serve Wenatchee Valley. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I nail it, but that's not quite good enough. All right, the full-size SUV redesign this year. Wow. The brand new Nissan Titan, the truck everybody's talking about. And as long as we got that, let's start over. 2017 Nissan. They're the best-selling SUV in America. I freaking had it. Come down and see us at Town Nissan behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
It's just high school. Come join us.
What should you look for in a dental office? Look for a friendly team of professionals that make you feel like you're part of a family that has your best interests in mind. Look for a team that has the training and technology to perform most dental procedures in-house. Then call Dr. Divis and his team at Wenatchee Dental Arts. At Wenatchee Dental Arts, we specialize in your smile and so much more.
Wenatchee Valley College is excited to announce the application process is now open for the new 4-year nursing degree program. The new RN to BSN degree offers working nurses the opportunity to complete their bachelor's degree online in only 1 year. Students will attend face-to-face classes just 3 times each quarter. This program is perfect for nurses wishing to advance in their careers. Make healthcare your career. WVC also offers medical assistant, chemical dependency, medical lab technology, and radiology programs.
54 minutes after the hour on this Monday, July 31st, 2017. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz, Tom Nees, and Pastor Bob Shepard from Serve Wenatchee Valley. Clothes for the Classroom is back. It's probably one of the busiest and biggest events that you have each year, Bob.
It is indeed our biggest event. It's coming August 19th at the Saddle Rock Presbyterian Church, as it's been there for the last several years. Once again this year, we're looking forward to about 900 kids to show up for the event, where they can get new socks, new shoes, new shirts, new jeans, haircuts, just a lot of things to get them ready for school. And, you know, Dan, last year, it surprised us. Last year was the first time in 15 years that we had families come and spend the night in their car in order to be in line to be able to receive what they are. So that just really touched our hearts, that it meant that much. And the smiles are abounding, both with the kids and the parents. You know, they're thrilled to death that they're able to get something like that, to get a good start with school.
Kids should start school with fresh clothes. I mean, it's for a self-esteem standpoint. It makes kids feel good, and a nice haircut and new clothes, and it's a great way to start the school year. Every kid should have new clothes, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure every parent understands that you get the list of school supplies that you have to provide for your children and all the other expenses on that, that it's wonderful to be able to have some of these items to be able to start. And yeah, it does bolster their self-esteem. That first day of school is always really important, what you wear.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you get the clothes? Where do they come from?
Well, we kind of do a standard issue so that we're able to buy all the shoes through stands. Shout out to
Kudos
Stans,
to
a great
Stans,
job
yes.
there.
Yeah.
A lot of the tops and all the jeans through Children's Place over at the mall, another shout out there, which really helps us as far as the inventory control, because we never know what kind of sizes we're going to have to address. Some years, all the small kids show up. Some years, all the larger kids show up. So when we run out of certain sizes, we're able to have them taken back and exchange it. And so that works out well. But we have people contributing money to purchase an outfit. We have churches doing rallies to come up with 2,000 socks. Individuals give us the tops to go with it. So that's where it all comes from. We've kind of, for a while now, this will be our third year, we've foregone the used clothes aspect. That just wasn't materializing. A lot of work, little bang for the buck. So it's all brand new. So we do the purchasing, and as we all know, we live in a very generous community, and people just have really impressed us with how they've been able to sponsor this event.
It must take an army of volunteers to make that happen.
Yeah, it takes close to 150 volunteers altogether by the time you're sorting and setting up and breaking down, and then the idea of distributing the clothes to everybody. So yeah, but it's a lot of fun. It really is, and especially, you know, as we gather together on that Saturday morning and we look at this long line of 500 people that are waiting to get in there. You know, we know that this is meeting a great need in our community.
Also, of course, that's the clothes for the classroom. People can get involved, right? I mean, all I have to do is
yeah, on our website, there's an opportunity for people to either contribute or sign up for one of the various volunteer positions. That starts the week of that Monday. We're starting to sort. So if somebody can't make it because they've got weekend plans on that August 19th weekend, they can come the Monday or Tuesday before and help us get ready and sort all the clothes and take it from there. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Obviously, you need organizational skill, Tom, to pull some of this off. So I take it you have that in your skill bucket. Because logistically, I mean, some of the stuff that has to be done is just incredible.
Yes, that's for sure. There's going to be a very close connection with Bob and I through this year of first. Certainly, this one coming on board. But yeah, that's part of the work, part of the job. And
Bob, we have about a minute left. I want to leave you with you, Bob. So you're going to get up tomorrow on Tuesday, August 1st, and do what?
Well, Tom and I have some events that we're going to do. We've got some food to pick up at Grocery Outlet. They've been very generous with a food drive through the month of July. We've got some other things, a planning meeting tomorrow night for this Clothes for the Classroom. So it's going to be a gentle transition. It's not just, here it is, it's all yours. But I do look forward to not having to get up quite as early and not being so schizophrenic of going from one job to the next, that I can really focus in on that. And,
You're
look
not
forward to
going
that.
anywhere. That's the most important thing.
I'm not.
We have about 30 seconds left. If you want to look right in that camera there, Bob, any message you want to go out to the Wenatchee people?
As I mentioned before, thank you for the support that you have given to serve Wenatchee Valley. We started in just a little Sunday school room at the Wenatchee Valley Baptist Church, and now we have a 10,000 square foot warehouse filled with furniture and food and diapers. We've been able to help thousands of people and families in our valley thanks to you. I've been so fortunate to be the agent or the catalyst, whatever it might be, the instrument to be able to distribute your generosity out to people in the name of Jesus Christ. And that's always been the important part of it. We want people to know the love of God.
Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, serving all of North Central Washington. We make it our priority to learn all about your financial needs. Whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or want a reverse mortgage, our mortgage professionals are ready to guide you through the loan process. We have a wide variety of loan products to fit your family's needs. Call Bay Equity Home Loans of Wenatchee today for your pre-approval. 509-888-0466.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's blueberry picking season, and King 5 named us the second best destination restaurant in Washington State. So toss the family in the cruiser and get on out to Blueberry Hills for the best down-home scratch country cooking you've had in years. And don't forget our award-winning pies. We're fun, family-friendly, and a delicious destination year-round. We're open every day from 8 to 3, serving breakfast and lunch all day. So come on out to Blueberry Hills.
We're back on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live from Studio 4 here in downtown Wenatchee. Dan Kuntz, Steve here. Obviously, the main news story today, and has been since Tuesday, is the smoke and the air quality in the Wenatchee Valley. Steve, you have a quick little update for us?
Definitely, the beat goes on again today. We have another day of poor air quality. Of course, it's as a result of the smoke coming down from the north. Indeed, the entire state of Washington, as you can see here, is affected by epic wildfires up in British Columbia. And while we have to suffer from the thick smoke here, north of the border is a scene of complete devastation. As you can see in this video here that's provided to us by Chelan County Emergency Management through the British Columbia Fire Authorities. And again, they have currently 138 active wildfires in the province. Combined, they've blackened over 939,000 acres. Those fires, by the way, were ignited back on July 7th by a lightning strike. As of Wednesday, 6,000 people still unable to return to their residences. Others are returning to just charred ruins, as you can see. In total, about 40,000 people were evacuated as a result of these fires in BC. The largest blaze measures over 330,500 acres. Hundreds of homes have been lost, and you can expect continued poor air quality here in north central Washington, as the forecast, as Dan will tell you, much the same for the remainder of this weekend into the weekend, although the temperatures are going to kind of moderate a little bit too.
Moderation is always, it's a good thing, first of all, but it's going to cool down. It's not going to be a big dramatic cool down. The big thing is the air quality alert, again, as Steve mentioned, is still in effect. There's your forecast, Steve. They were thinking 105, 106. Now they're thinking, well, maybe not so much. A little cool front coming in on Friday. The air quality alert is in effect as of now. It's been in effect for a couple of days until noon on Saturday. And I want to bring you right up to where the smoke is coming from. You showed that unbelievable satellite image and that drone footage. Where is the smoke coming from? Most of it, as you mentioned before, is coming from British Columbia. Everything that you see on the screen there is all under the influence of that high pressure ridge. The middle of the high pressure ridge is just off the Oregon coast, almost in the middle of your picture. So you see all the big complex of fires up in British Columbia, and then you see the smaller little yellow dots. Those are all wildfires. The smoke comes up, it hits the lid of that dome, that high pressure ridge goes right back down again. So that is where the smoke is coming from.
By the way, coming up a little bit later on, we're going to be following up on some different angles on this smoky, poor air quality conditions. We'll be talking to the PUD about some tips for your HVAC systems, and also touch base with the Chelan-Douglas County Health District on what you can do to prevent or at least reduce your exposure to the smoke and the poor air quality.
Everybody have a great Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.